Call of Cthulhu is a horror fiction role-playing game based on H.P. Lovecraft's story of the same name and the associated Cthulhu mythos. The game, often abbreviated as COC, is published by Chaosium. The game was first released in 1981 and 7 editions have been published to date. The setting of Call of Cthulhu is a darker vision of our own world, based on H.P. Lovecraft's observation from his essay, The Supernatural Horror in Literature, that the oldest and strongest emotion of mankind is fear, and the strongest kind of fear is fear of the unknown. The original game was first published in 1981, using mechanics from the basic role-playing. Set in the 1920s, the setting of many of Lovecraft's stories. Additional settings were developed in the 1890s, Cthulhu by Gaslight Supplement, a blend of occult and Holmesian mystery, and mostly set in England. Add modern 1980s conspiracy with Cthulhu Now. More recent additions include 1000 AD, Cthulhu Dark Ages, 23rd century Cthulhu Rising, and ancient Roman times Cthulhu Invictus. The protagonist may also travel to places that are not of this earth, represented in the Dreamlands, which can be accessed through dreams as well as being physically connected to the earth, to other planets, or into the voids of space. Call of Cthulhu uses the basic role-playing system used by other Chaosium games, first seen in RuneQuest. For as long as they stay functionally healthy and sane, characters grow and develop. Call of Cthulhu does not use levels, but is completely skill-based, with player characters getting better with their skills by succeeding at them. They do not, however, gain hit points and do not become significantly harder to kill as the game progresses. The players take the roles of ordinary people drawn into the realm of the mysterious. Detectives, criminals, scholars, artists, war veterans. Often happenings begin innocently enough until more and more of the workings behind the scenes are revealed. As the characters learn more of the true horrors of the world and the irrelevance of humanity, their sanity, represented by sanity points, abbreviated to SAN, inadvertently withers away. The game includes a mechanism for determining how damaged the character's sanity is at any given point. Encountering the horrific beings usually triggers a loss of sanity. To gain the tools they need to defeat the horrors, that's mystic knowledge and magic, the characters may end up losing some of their sanity through other means such as pure firepower or simply outsmarting one's opponent also exist. Call of Cthulhu has a reputation as a game in which it is quite common for a player character to die in gruesome circumstances or end up in the mental institution, or one and then the other. Unlike most other role-playing games, eventual triumph of the players is not assumed. The original conception of Call of Cthulhu was Dark Worlds, a game commissioned by the publisher Chaosium that never published. Sandy Peterson, now best known for his work on the Doom computer game, contacted them regarding writing a supplement for their popular fantasy game, RuneQuest, set in Lovecraft's Dreamlands. He took over the writing of Call of Cthulhu, and the game was released in 1981 using the simplified version of basic role-playing system that was first used in RuneQuest. Peterson's departure, continuing development of the Call of Cthulhu, has passed to Lynn Willis, who since the 5th edition has been credited as co-author. Unfortunately, as of January 2013, Lynn Willis unfortunately passed away. The game is now in its 6th edition, but the rules have changed little over the years. A 7th edition is currently under development and is a long way down that process. First announced in 2012 to ship in 2013, it reports to offer much greater changes to the rules than previous revisions. Having looked on Chaosium's website, it's clear that the development is very close to release, and they have what I could describe as a starter packet ready to be downloaded, which you will find a link to at the beginning of this video. Here is the editions as they stand by the years. Call of Cthulhu originally 1981, Call of Cthulhu Designers Edition 1982, Call of Cthulhu 2nd Edition 1983, 3rd edition came out in 1986, 4th edition 1989, 5th edition 1992. In 1998 it was 5.5, 5.6 came in 2000, 5.6 the 20th anniversary came out in 2001, Call of Cthulhu 5.6 Miskatonic University Edition came out in 2001, Call of Cthulhu 6th Edition came out in 2004, Call of Cthulhu 25th Anniversary Edition came out in 2006, and Call of Cthulhu 30th Anniversary Edition came out in 2011. It was grounded in the RPG tradition. The very first release of Call of Cthulhu created a brand new framework for tabletop gaming, rather than the traditional format established by Dungeons & Dragons, which often involved the characters wandering through caves or tunnels and fighting different types of monsters. Sandy Peterson introduced the concept of the onion skin. That's interlocking layers of information and nested clues that led the player characters from seemingly minor investigations into maybe a missing person to discovering mind-numbing awful global conspiracies to destroy the world. Unlike its predecessor games, Call of Cthulhu assumed that most investigators simply would not survive, alive or sane, and that the only safe way to deal with many of the problems described in the rulebooks was simply to run away. A well-run Call of Cthulhu campaign should engender a sense of foreboding and inevitable doom in its players. The style and setting of the game, in a relatively modern time period, create an emphasis on real-life settings, character research, and think it's one way round trouble. The first book of Call of Cthulhu Adventures was Shadows over Yog-Sothoth. In this work, the characters came upon a secret society, foul plot to destroy mankind, and pursue it, first near to home and then in a series of exotic locations. This particular template was to be followed in many subsequent campaigns, including Fungi from Yuggoth, later known as the Curse of Cthulhu and Day of the Beast, Spawn of Azathoth, and possibly the most highly acclaimed, The Masks of Nyarlathotep. Many of them seem closer in tone to the pulp adventures of Indiana Jones than H.P. Lovecraft, but they are nevertheless beloved by many gamers. Shadows over Yog-Sothoth is important not only because it represents the first published addition to the boxed first edition of Call of Cthulhu, but because its format defined a new way of approaching a campaign of linked RPG scenarios involving actual clues for the would-be detectives amongst the players to follow and link in order to uncover the dastardly plots afoot. Its format has been used by every other campaign-length Call of Cthulhu publication. The standard of COC scenarios was well received by independent reviewers. The Asylum and Other Tales, a series of standalone articles released in 1983, rated an overall 9 out of 10, based at that point. The standard Call of Cthulhu campaign included clue materials that varied from scenario to scenario, but reached its zenith in the original box versions of the Masks and Horror on the Orient Express campaigns. Inside these, one could literally find matchbooks, business cards, apparently defaced by non-player characters, newspaper cuttings, and in the case of the Orient Express period, passports to which players could attach their photographs, bringing a live-action roleplay feel to a tabletop. If anybody wonders where I get my inspiration for props from, it is without doubt Call of Cthulhu. Indeed, during this period, these supplements were produced. Third-party campaign publishers strove to emulate the quality of the additional material, offering separately priced deluxe clue packages for their campaigns. Additional milieu were provided by Chaosium with the release of Dreamlands, a box supplement containing additional rules needed for playing with the Lovecraft Dreamlands, a large map and a scenario booklet, and Cthulhu by Gaslight, another box set which moved the action from the 1920s to the 1890s. Supplement campaigns are the following: Shadows of Yog-Sothoth, 1982, Fungi from Yuggoth, 1984, Masks of Nyarlathotep, 1984, and Spawn of Azathoth, 1986. Cthulhu Now. In 1987, Chaosium issued the supplement titled Cthulhu Now, a collection of rules, supplemental materials, source materials, and scenarios for playing Call of Cthulhu in the present day. This proved to be a very popular alternative time period, so much so that much of the supplemental material is now included in the core book. Delta Green came along by Pagan Publishing, which released a set of supplements in a similar vein by the name of Delta Green. That is set in the 1990s. Although later supplements add support for playing closer to present day, this also proved hugely popular. Lovecraft Country was a line of supplements for Call of Cthulhu released in 1990. These supplements were overseen by Keith Herber and provided background and adventures set in Lovecraft's fictional towns of Arkham, Kingsport, Innsmouth and Dunwich and their environs. The intent was to give investigators a common base as well as to centre the action on well-drawn characters with clear motivations. With the departure of Herber, Chaosium line ended this. Since the collapse of the Mythos collectible card game, the release of COC books has been very sporadic, with up to a year between them. Chaosium struggled with bankruptcy for many years before finally starting their upward climb again. 2005 was their busiest year for many years, with 10 releases that year. These included things like Cthulhu Dark Ages by Stefan Gesbert, which gives a framework for playing 11th century Europe, Secrets of Japan by Michael Dzenski for gaming in modern day Japan, and Secrets of Kenya by David Converse for the gaming and interwar period of Africa. In July 2011, Chaosium announced a re-release of a 30th edition anniversary Call of Cthulhu game, the 6th edition game, using the best of materials available at that time, an absolute collector's dream. In May 2013, 20th of May 2013, the Kickstarter for the 7th edition Call of Cthulhu was launched. It ended in June the 27th the same year, having collected $561,836. People often say, why do you like Cthulhu? I think that is in the history and in H.P. Lovecraft's works itself. To run a Call of Cthulhu game well takes some study, some time. It's not that the rules are difficult, far from it.
But if you want to get it right, if you want to do justice to the body of work that's been done, then there is effort that needs to go into it. It remains, and has always remained, one of the best RPGs in my view.
I'm a DM and I'm okay. I sleep all night and I work all day. He's a DM and he's okay. He sleeps all night and he works all day. Cuts down trees, I eat my lunch, I go to the lavatory. On Wednesdays I go shopping and have buttered scones for tea. Cuts down trees, he eats his lunch, he goes to the lavatory. On Wednesdays he goes shopping, has buttered scones for tea. I'm a DM and I'm okay. I sleep all night and I work all day. He's a DM and he's okay. He sleeps all night and he works all day. Down players, I skip and jump. I like to press wildflowers. I put on women's clothing and hang around in bars. Cuts down players, he likes to skip and jump. He likes to press wildflowers. He puts on women's clothing and hangs around in bars. I'm a DM and I'm okay. I sleep all night and I work all day. He's a DM and he's okay. He sleeps all night and he works all day. Cut down players, I wear high heels, suspenders and a bra. I wish I'd been a gilly, just lap my dear papa. Down players, he wears high heels, suspenders and a bra. He wish he'd been a gilly, just like his dear papa. I'm a DM and I'm okay. I sleep all night and I work all day. And I thought you were so rugged. Well, that's a DM's life, isn't it? Oh well, never mind. Till the next time. Bye.